aunt lived in lot 311, and it's part of like the 911. The best friend of them lived in 309, so they used to joke like, we're old 309, you're old 311. They changed the addresses though before I got down there. They completely revamped the address system, so then they became 8534 Northwest 40th Terrace as opposed to lot 311 in Quail Core. Like, they had these really cute names like Turkey Scratch, Quail Core, you know, Featherbone we'll go with, but you know what I mean. They were all bird names, really. And oh well, you know, they switched it to 8534 Northwest 40th Terrace, and that's a lot to write out compared to Quail Core lot 311, you know. So anyway, we'll head on this way. I have to say, every once in a while I feel like maybe I feel a sense of nausea, but it's when it correlates with either coming in close contact with certain types of people, and it's not a racial thing. Like, I just saw someone who would be considered very much on the waspy side of the world, and it's almost like when magnets are on the opposite ends and they don't attract, like when they repel each other. It's kind of like that, like, whoa, I don't know what it is. It's totally crazy. Anyway, I'm hoping the universe will fix it, because it's like, if I think one thing in a certain direction, or if I say I'm about to pick up a message from a text message, and not all the time, but every once in a while, it would be like getting the message of, put that phone back down, we don't want you to read that right now. And this could be from someone who I only know so well, like kind of a friend, but you know, enough of a friend to have exchanged numbers. And that's the kind of messaging I get these days. So you're a super nice person, seemingly, who's all, you know, a lot of people who work in grocery stores wind up with a special citified getup, you know, whether it be piercing, you know, I don't really care that much, because it becomes a thing. But for some reason, I had an allergic reaction, if you will, that's the nicest way to put it, to someone who I would normally think was totally awesome. So I'm kind of curious what's going on there. So I was told to explain and report that. So, sorry. So I'm not sure what it is. It happened in 2011. It happened to like once in the presence of one person, and many years ago in 2009, maybe 2010, when someone showed me their brand new condo, I had like a very dreadful feeling. And I remember thinking to myself, well, if he ever asked me to take care of his cats, then I don't know if I can say yes, because I don't want to feel that bad coming out of that. You know, is it worth being paid to show up to a unit in a specific building where it was like, whoa, that is some dark dreadness. What is it? And this is a, you know, wealthy building in Center City, and I'm kind of curious why it's like a cloak, like someone can put it on, and it's like as if a blob of darkness were to squint your cells. It's different than depression. I've been depressed before, so anyway.
I feel like every time I get tested here, I don't know.
New York City licensed electrician, Westchester's in the house. So electricians from Westchester, that's Tarrytown area. It's an expensive area of New York, and it would be considered right around where Kraft Foods headquarters was in New York City. I actually kind of dated someone whose parents were food scientists, and they lived in Tarrytown, Westchester County, New York. And they worked for Kraft Foods. I think am I going straight? Or is this a thing? Anyway, idea was that they went to school like at Stanford or UCLA or Berkeley or whatever in California, and somehow they made their way over to New York City in the food science realm, and they wound up working for Kraft Foods. and they got to pilot things like blueberry morning cereal. So they were the first to taste test blueberry morning cereal with the, you know, juicy blueberries. I think it's still on the market today, like a Post, thank you, Post cereal. So someone came in to remind me that it's Post that they create there at Kraft, I guess. So thank you, and RIP to the person whose dad, who used to work for Kraft Foods, passed away. I think his dad passed away the same year as my mom and dad. So both my mom and dad passed, you know, technically during the pandemic. My mom didn't wind up with coronavirus, but my dad did. December 2020 is when he passed. He traveled during Thanksgiving for some weird reason. I don't know who convinced him and his second wife to travel during Thanksgiving, at the peak of the pandemic when vaccines weren't even available. Anyway, some could see such folks as murderers to coerce older people who are vulnerable and had, you know, stomach stent and heart stent put in leading up to that date to actually travel during Thanksgiving. Who actually traveled during Thanksgiving who was over like, you know, 70, okay? So I know some people traveled, very few people traveled. There are YouTubers out there who were showing that they traveled, and we were talking empty airports and everything. So what up, you know? And they were young and spry and, you know, all that. So we won't get into the conspiracy theory about rapid tests versus thorough tests and the timing and orchestration of it all. I don't want to wind up timed by the death junkies of whoever is situated in Florida. I'm so not kidding. No, thank you. We're good. Alright, well, it's Friday. Have a happy weekend. Of course, I'll be on again. I walk around wherever I go. So, talk to you later.